Yeah, good afternoon to all participants. Once again, I request all the participants, repeatedly we are giving the instructions. First thing is don't unmute your video or audio. Don't disturb a speaker. Very clear. And very important point is feedback form, previous feedback forms, we never share it. Okay, actually every day we need to report to AICTE. So please, I request all the participants, don't ask previous feedback forms. And second important point is all the participants, for all the participants, we are going to share all PPTs, all recording videos, complete code from we are collecting from speaker and we are going to forward to your mail IDs. So don't repeatedly ask the speaker, and don't disturb the speaker. Third important point is if you have any doubts, if you have any clarifications, please raise a hand. The speaker will be give a chance. So why? Because now in this session we are going to learn hands-on sessions. So don't irritate that much. Raise the hand, that's it only. Don't unmute and speak something. Don't disturb remaining participants. I request you all the participants. Don't disturb the speaker. Okay. Now the session is handovering to Sri Lata Madam for introducing our speaker.
Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Sri Lata. I would take privilege to introduce our today's presenter, T. Durga Prasad Garu. He is a data scientist from deepsphere.ai. And he is a very passionate data scientist, helping clients design and implement and deploy He has massive experience in driving data strategy from design through implementation through deployment. And he is an experience in applying qualitative analysis and data mining to build models that improve the security posture of applications, products, and services. And he is an experience in researching new technologies that can improve the company's agility, performance, and effectiveness. I hope today's hands-on and Python libraries will throw enough light on all the libraries. Thank you. Happy learning. Now I'll request Sir to take over the session.
Thank you, ma'am. And thanks for the opportunity. I'm really overwhelmed and the opportunity given. Anyways, we'll start this session. So the agenda for today's session is going to be the Python libraries like Numpy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and SciPy. So let's get into the demo first. We'll see what Numpy is. So is my screen visible to everybody? Hello? 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 Hello?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Am I audible properly? Or
It is audible.
Audible.
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll just continue then.
Carry on, carry on. Thank you.
Okay. So let's talk about NumPy first. Okay. So what basically NumPy is? So NumPy basically is a Python library that is used for numerical processing. So as you can see from the name itself, it tells numerical Python. So you will basically use NumPy for numerical processing, like arrays. So in the morning session, we are seeing like Jyoti told what an array is. So array basically is a data container holding data. So your data could be one-dimensional data, two-dimensional, or n-dimensional data. So NumPy is a powerful library available in Python for processing arrays. So
Sir,
you are,
Dugapasa,
yes,
sir.
yes.
So please increase the voice, sir, volume.
Okay. So
It's a very low.
give me a second.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So I am at 100% volume. Now is it better? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Carry on.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So NumPy basically is a powerful library available in Python for numerical processing. Okay. And it is applied on arrays. So you also have other data structures like lists, sets, tuple, dictionary, etc. But NumPy is especially for array processing. So that is why, like when you're working with deep learning models such as convolutional neural networks, which basically deals with image processing, we are going to use NumPy for image processing. So if you look at an image basically is made up of rows and columns, or you can call it as pixels. So basically, when you fetch your image into your Python environment, you see the image being fetched as an array. Okay, and when you get your image as an array, you use NumPy to process the images. Okay, so basically, NumPy is much more superior to other libraries. Okay, for processing multi-dimensional data. That is why we're going for NumPy. And today we'll be looking at demo on NumPy for creating arrays and performing operation arrays and things. And also, like the second library that we're going to discuss is about Pandas. So Pandas is nothing but data manipulation and data analysis library. So we're going to see how we're going to fetch data from files, data from databases, and work with them. Okay. So the other library that we're going to discuss is about Matplotlib. So as Jyoti told you in the morning session, Matplot is for data visualization. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the data and visually represent the data in charts and see how we can see the data. Okay, so that is about Matplotlib. And SciPy is for scientific computing, like when you're working with mathematical functions like linear algebra or calculus, differential calculus, integrations, or even images, we can use this scientific library called SciPy. Anyways, let's move on and we'll see the demo here. So is this screen visible, the participants? Like I'm in the Jupyter notebook. Is this screen visible? Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello? Sir, Dugapasa, sir. Dugapasa, sir, is it audible?
Hello?
Sir, Durgapasa, sir.
Yes, can you see my screen? Like it is saying your screen sharing is paused.
Sir, screen is
Sir, agenda slide is visible now.
Okay, I am actually sharing my notebook. Okay, Jupyter notebook, the code actually.
Only agenda screen.
Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll stop sharing.
And one more thing,
do-
sir, please increase the
Yes.
volume, sir. Please a little bit loud.
Okay, sure. I'll do that. Yes, now can you see my notebook, Jupyter notebook?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just move on then. Okay. Okay, as I told you, like Numpy is for processing arrays. So in this program, like we are going to see how the arrays are created. So basically from list, how do you create an array? From a tuple, how do you create an array? And how do you create an array with 3 cross 4 shape? So all these we're going to see. Okay, so first let me move on and see how we are going to create an array from a list. Okay, so basically what I need to do is, so this NumPy is an inbuilt library that comes with my Anaconda package. So Anaconda package is something which has all the inbuilt libraries for my machine learning and deep learning applications. So if I use Python as standalone, I don't have this NumPy. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to download and install this NumPy. So when you're using Anaconda, it comes inbuilt. So what I will do is I just import this NumPy as Numpy. So I'm just giving the alias name as NP and importing the NumPy library. So I have an function called as np.array. So array is my function for creating array. So what I do is, so this is the array I'm creating, okay, of shape 3 cross, so 2 cross 3. So number of rows here is 2 and number of columns here is 3. So I just pass the elements over here in this np.array and I just create an array with a list. Okay, so this is what I get. Okay, you see an array created from a list with the elements 1, 2, 4, 5, 8 and 7 and the data type that is given is float. Same way, if I want my data type to be int, I can give int and execute. Now you see an array is created from a list with type integer. So similarly, I can create an array from a list with any data type. So let's move on to the next one. So here I am creating an array from a tuple. So what I do is I pass the tuple inside round brackets. So when I pass an array with round brackets, it is basically a tuple. When you pass an array with square brackets, it's list. So what I do is, again, I use the same function np.array, and within my function, I pass these elements 1, 3, 2, which is in square brackets. So now I try to print this. It is creating an array with all these elements 1, 3, and 2. So this is from tuple. Now say that you want to create an array of all zeros. So now I say I want an array with 3 rows, 4 columns, and all the elements in my array needs to be 0. So what I do is I call this function again np. I say dot zeros. So this is the function available. You see here zeros, and you need to pass the shape. Shape is nothing but your rows and columns. So what I'm doing is I'm saying I want 3 rows, 4 columns. Full. Okay, and so what do I need to pass here? Okay, again I need to pass the shape of the array, the rows and the columns. So I print this. Now, what I get is a complex number with real part as 6 and imaginary part as 0. So as I have given the number of rows and number of columns here as 3 and 3. So you're getting 3 rows and 3 columns with real
Sir,
and imaginary.
sorry to disturb you.
Yes, yes, yes.
So please zoom your screen, sir. Control P. Click on Control P little.
Okay, okay.
Zoom screen.
Yes, I did zoom it. Give me a second. Control P, right?
Yes, Control P.
Okay, it is saying print or something. Okay. Give me a second.
Control plus.
Okay, do I have an option here on the top?
Control plus. Once try, sir.
Control plus, is it? Okay. So when I say Control P, it is asking me for print.
Option is available.
No, Control plus.
Yes, 120. Now?
Control plus, sir.
Yes, yes, I'm giving that. Okay, it is saying 200% now. Yes, the maximum is 200%.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Is it visible? Hello?
Not that much clear, sir.
Okay, is it not full screen?
That's full screen, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The
Sir,
corner 3 dots available now, sir, at the side.
Yes.
Click on that, sir. You will get zoom option.
Okay, I am on that. Okay, it says record to computer. I cannot see zoom option.
Not in the zoom, sir.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay, let me stop sharing and let me do it again. Now is it better? Hello?
yes, sir. Not that much clear. Once again,
Again the same thing, is it?
same, sir. Control plus, sir. Go for Control plus.
Yeah, I did that.
Control plus. Once press it. Control plus plus.
Yes. Now?
On the top 3 dots are available now. Yeah. Here log out your Chrome of browser options are there.
Okay, actually I'm in Edge. I'm not in Chrome.
You are in which browser, sir?
Edge, Microsoft Edge.
Okay, no problem, sir. On the top you have Grammarly options and all that options are not there, sir.
Yes.
On the
Oh,
bottom,
here is it?
yeah. Click on that. Zoom, right. Make it 150, sir. Yeah. Now it is visible.
Now is it visible, is it?
Yes, yes, sir. It's visible.
Okay. Let me continue then.
Thank
Okay, sir, no? Yep.
Okay. So we saw that how to create a complex number with Numpy. So what I'm basically doing is I'm passing this function called dot full. So what I do is I pass the shape of the array. So 3 cross 3, I want 3 rows and 3 columns, and my real number is 6. Okay, I print this. So this is the value I get, result I get. So I have the real number 6 and the imaginary number, and your shape is 3 cross 3, 3 rows and 3 columns. So this is one of the way of creating an array. And now I'm giving a random value. So what I basically want is two numbers. Size, you see the function size is equal to none. So what I'm doing is I'm giving a size of 2. Okay, so 2 in a sense 2 rows and value is saying 2. So this basically gives you values between 0 and 1. Okay, you see the value here, 2 rows, 2 columns, and the range is between 0 and 1 by default. Okay, so you execute this, so you get this value, random value of random value between 0 and 1 of 2 rows and 2 columns. So this is one way of creating an array of random values. So next what I'm doing is I'm creating an array from a range 0 to 30 with steps 5. So this is equal steps. So between 0 and 30 I want 5 numbers. Okay, and my interval is 5, you see. Okay, so what I get is, so you are giving the range over here 0 to 30 and steps is 5. So the result you get is 0, 5 up to 30, and 30 will be skipped. As you're saying, range is 0 to 30 and you're wanting 5 numbers. I mean steps of 5. So this is the result you get: 0, 5, 10, 15, 20 and 25. So okay, we'll move on to the next one. So I want a sequence of 10 values between 0 and 5. This is equally spaced numbers. Okay, I want numbers to be in between 0 and 5, 10 numbers. The step is 5 and I want them to be linearly placed. Linearly spaced. That means equal distance between them. So if I execute this, what I get is 10 numbers between 0 and 5. They're equally spaced. You see the first value 0, second value is 0.55, third value is 1.11. You see the difference between these two and these two, these two and these two, they're all same. So this is nothing but linearly spaced numbers between your range, of your range 0 and 5. So this is one one way of creating your array. So next we'll see how to reshape an array. Say that you have created an array and now you want to change the shape of the array. For example, here you are creating an array with 3 rows and 4 columns. Now that you want to change the shape of this, you want a different shape of this array. What you're saying is you want an array of this shape, basically 2 rows, 3 columns, and you want the array to be you want 2 arrays of this shape. So what I basically do is I pass this function called as dot reshape. So first I create the array, so where underscore array is my variable, and I pass this function called as dot array for creating an array of this shape, that is 3 rows and 4 columns, and I want to reshape the created array with this new shape. So I want a new array of this shape, that is 2 different arrays of 2 different rows and 3 columns. So when I execute this, what I get is this. This is your original array of shape 3 cross 4, and your reshaped array is 3 rows of 2 columns, that is 2 arrays you get. This is one way of reshaping your array, that is you want a different shape for your array. Okay, finally we'll see what is flattening of an array. So basically when you're working with images in convolutional neural networks, deep learning, so you basically flatten an array, you make it single dimension. Okay, that will be easier for your processing. So Numpy has got an option for flattening arrays. Okay, basically what you do is here create an array again of shape 2 cross 3 and say call this function called as dot flatten. So this will basically flatten your array into one single dimension. Okay, let me execute this again. Okay, so if you see an original array, this is the shape of the array, that is 2 cross 3, 2 rows and 3 columns, and now you're flattened it. That means you're making it as one single dimension of 1 row. Okay, so this is program number 1. We have created an array and we have reshaped it, flattened it. We have created an array with equal intervals between specified time intervals, etc. Now we'll see how to create, index an array. Okay. So basically, why do we need indexing? Say that I have an array here. Okay, I create an array here of size 3 comma 1 2 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so basically I have this an array of this shape. Say that you want to access particular elements in this array. Say for example, I want uh, the element from row number 2 and columns 2 and 3. Okay, so this is what you're going to get the array. I mean the elements in the array is what you need. Okay, so when you index the array, only then you can slice and dice the array. So basically indexing is nothing but positioning your elements in the array. So only when you index an array, you can slice and dice, you can get whatever the elements in the array that you want. So what I'm doing here is I'm indexing the array first and then slicing it. Okay, slicing in a sense I'm getting particular elements in the array. So here if you see, I created an array here of this shape. I'm just trying to pull out, I mean, these elements over here, 2, 3, 6, 7. So basically if you see, my 2 and 3 lies in the first row, and 2, 6, 3, 7, they are in the second and third column. So what I do is I use this array. So this, if you see here, I'm passing the index over here. So colon basically tells everything. So this 2 is, so basically when you index, first element will be indexed as 0th element. Next will be 1, 2, 3, and so on. So same way the column are also indexed that way. So initially you start with 0 and then continue. So what basically I am doing is I am saying colon 2. So this basically means, let me do one thing. Let me pull out the rows first. So this is the array, and I'm saying colon 2. So this will result me the first 2 rows, because I said colon 2. Colon 2 will result me in 2 rows from 0 to 2. Okay, 0 to 1. In fact, 2 will be ignored. So I'll get the rows 0 and 1 with index 0 and 1. So what my target is getting 2 and 3, 6 and 7, right? So again, I'll pass the column over here. So column is nothing but 1 to 3. That is, I want column number 2 and 3. So this is what I do here. So I slice the array and I got this result. So this basically is a slicing. So this also will do in your data processing. So let us see how you process integers. Okay. Again, like here I created an array with shape 3, 4. What I do is, here row number 1, I'm getting this result. Okay, let me do it one by one. Say that you want this element, okay, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, this is what you create initially, an array of 3 cross 4. Okay, so you want the second row. So what you basically do is take the array and give the shape. I mean, give the index over here. The row, the row index that you give is 1. That is 0. 0 is your first row. This is your 0. This is your 1. Okay, so basically what you tell is 1, and you say all the columns. That will give you this result: 5, 6, 7, and 8. And second Say for example, row 2, what you want is 5, 6, 7, 8, and you want it as 1, 4. You want it as, you want to see the number of rows and number of columns over here. So this is what you can do, and you print this. Okay, the shape of row number 2. And finally, what you do is you want to print the column as well. Let me uncomment that. Okay, now we are doing for the columns. Okay, you take the column of the created array. Now you want the first column of shape 3, nothing. And when you want the column 2, this is what you do. You see the shape 3 and 1. So this basically is your index-based array index, integer-based array indexing. So again, you can also do Boolean array indexing. That means true or false. For example, in this example, what I'm doing is, and again I'm creating an array, new array of shape 3 cross 2. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm finding out what are the elements that are bigger than 2. Okay, so when I create this initially and print the result, so I have an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want all the elements that are greater than 2. So this 3 and 4, 5 and 6 are greater. So I just try to print, it is printing me false, false, true, true. That means second row and third row are true. And I actually plot the result over here. So when I say print var a and booleans id, which is the variable, I get the result over here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want this number. So 3, 4, 5, 6 are actually greater than 2. So I'm printing all the elements that are greater than 2 here. Okay, so this is basically your array indexing. So let's move on to the next one. We'll see how we can perform certain operations on your array. Okay, so let's see how we can perform your mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and say vector, your vector, two vectors as your arrays, and how do you get the dot product of two vectors. Okay, so let me show you how to add two arrays. Say for example, you're creating an array number 1 called as var x and array number 2 as var y, and the elements in the first array is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is again 2 cross 2 array. So what I'm doing is I'm adding to these two arrays. So what I can do is I can either say dot add, call this function as dot add, or I can simply say plus over here. So let me try this first. There are two ways of doing this. Okay, one I can say array number 1 plus array number 2. Okay, or I can say this way, add np dot add, take the first array, take the second array. You can do this. So let me print both of them. It is going to print the same result. Okay. So let me print that. Now you see the first result. So what I'm doing is I'm using this plus symbol, okay, and I'm adding these two arrays. So the result I get is 10, 8, 10, 10 and 12. So if I say this way, I can use any of the syntax. Again, I get the same result. Okay, so you can use either of the commands for your addition. Okay, similarly, you can subtract two different arrays. So let me do that as well. Again, you can say x minus y, or you can say np dot subtract x comma 1. So both will be giving you the same result. Minus 4, minus 4, minus 4, minus 4. Okay, similarly, we'll do multiplication too. So for multiplication, I'm using star, and I can also use np dot multiply. You see the same result. So again, for addition, same thing. Say use division symbol, or say divide, np dot divide. You're going to get the same result. Okay, so this is how you perform arithmetic operation on your arrays. Okay, so you can also have square root. So I don't think so. You can use symbols for square root. So you can use this. So you say np dot sqrt. This is my array I'm passing in. So whatever elements you have within this array, it is going to give you the square root of the elements within the array. Okay, so all these are the arithmetic operations that you can perform. So now let us see how vector operations are done on arrays. Okay, so let me create two arrays of shape 2 plus 2, and I have two vectors, vector v, vector w. Now I want to multiply these two. So since these are vectors, what I want to do is either I can use this command, say vector a dot vector b, or I can say np dot vector a vector b. So this again is going to give you the same result. Like this, x dot v, so getting the same result. Okay, 219, 219. Oh, let me do this. Okay, so what I say is multiply array A and array B. Sorry, V and W. So the result I get is 219, 219 with either of the commands. So I can use this or this for multiplying. Okay. Okay, so now I multiply vector v and w. So earlier I multiplied the array with the vector. So now I am multiplying the two vectors that I created, v and w. So this is the result I get, and I am actually doing the multiplication dot product of x and y. This is the result I get. Okay, so this way you can create vectors and multiply with arrays, arrays with arrays, or vector with arrays, whatever you want, you can do. Okay. So next we'll move on to the sorting of arrays. So we'll see how we can sort an array row wise, column wise, by names and things. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an array again of 3 cross 3. So let me print what is there in this array. So this is the element in my array. And what I'm doing is I'm sorting this array. Okay. So what you do is you say np.sort and pass the array. Here A is your array, and whatever we created is var come underscore A. So that is what I'm passing here. I'm sorting this. And axis I'm saying none. So axis basically represents your rows and columns. Okay, if you say axis is equal to 0, it is going to sort based on your rows. And when you say axis is equal to 1, it is going to sort based on your columns. Okay. So here initially, let me say it as none. So, okay, so this is how it gets sorted. Okay, now let me, okay, this I already showed you row wise. In fact, a row wise if you sort it is axis is equal to 1, and column wise if you sort it is 0. Right, sort it. This is why, and this is row wise sorting, this is column wise sorting. Okay, next what I do is let me create an array. Okay, so what I do is I create an array with these elements. Let me name the columns as names, graduation year, and CGPA. Okay. So and the values I'm going to give us these values. Ram 2009 and his grade is 8.5. So now what I'm going to do is take this array. I'm going to sort this array based on names. Okay, first I'm going to sort this on names. Okay, so when I say sort this array based on names, so it is going to sort me and give me the result in ascending order. Okay, sorry, yes, A to Z. First I get Ajay's, Mohan's, Raj's, and Ram's. So when I say I do not want this. Let me sort this based on the graduation year. So if that is the case, so you're going to get from 2008 to 2009 in sort of order. Okay, so instead of Ram, which I got in the earlier case, I'm going to get Mohan first. Okay, that is 2008. Then I get Ajay's result, Ram's result, and Raj's result. So this is basically your rows, array sorting based on your rows, columns, and names, columns. Okay, let's move on and we'll see the next one. Okay, let us move to broadcasting. Okay, so what broadcasting basically is, like say when you are working with arrays of different shapes. So here you see array X is of this shape. I create an array of X with how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 3 columns. Another array that I create is V. This is of single row. And one more array that I create is empty array. There's nothing in this. Okay. So when I want to work with arrays of different shapes, that is what we call as broadcasting. So earlier we created arrays with same shape. We added it, we subtracted it, multiplied it, and did all the arithmetic operations. Now we are working with arrays of different shapes. So this basically is going to be called as broadcasting. So I can do this in two ways. So here what I do is I create all these arrays, I add them. Okay, I'm going to add X to V. Okay, so I can loop this and loop, or I can use another method over here. Let's see the first method. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm using a for loop. So within the for loop, I am adding these two arrays. So now it is going to add X to Y and give you the result. Let's see the result. Okay, now it has added x to b. Okay, so what is my x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that has been added to v of b. So 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 0, 2, 3, 2 plus 3 plus 1, 4. So if you see the result, it has added me and given the result. See the first row, 2 to 4. Okay, so this is one way of your adding arrays of different shape. So I can do the same thing in a different manner. So what I do is I use something called as dot tile. So tile is basically what I'm doing is I'm stacking up these values 4 times. So when you're adding, you're going to here you're having 4 rows, right? So when you're stacking up, you need again 4 rows of this. In these 4 rows you're going to add to these 4 rows of your array X. So what I'm doing is I'm stacking up the array. I'm using this function called as dot type. Now when you see, when you're printing this, let me print that. So the result you get is, okay, so what you're doing is you're saying np.tile, where this is the variable that I'm creating and this is the array 101. So since I told 4, it is going to create me 4 rows. So that is what I want for addition, right? Here there are 4 rows where x 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So what I do is, now that I have x unstacked up this value, so I can add this way as well. So this is a different method without using for loop. So again, I get the same result as I got in the first one. You see the same result. So this is one way of, this is the demonstration of your broadcast. Broadcasting is nothing but adding and working with arrays of different shapes. Okay, we will move on to the next one. We will see special functions here in Numpy. Okay, so you can see some of the special functions that are available in Numpy, like cosine function, sine function, tan function. Okay, say that you want to plot plot a sine wave. Okay, so what I basically do is I have a sine function over here. That is, I want a sine wave between 0 and 0.1. And what is the function? Function is 3 pi, np dot pi. So this is 3 into pi, so 3 pi. This is my function, and I plot this function between 0 and 1. So what I use is np dot a range. I define the range over here 0 to 0.1, and this is my function. I define the function over here. Okay, this is the starting function. You see this function, it says starting is 0 and stop is what, 0.1. I'm not defining the step over here, and I'm saying 3 into np dot pi, that is 3 pi. This is between 0 and 0.1. So again, as I said, I want a sine function. I'm going to say sine of 3 pi. And plotting, I told you, like matplot is one library that you use to visualize the data. Okay, so since I use the sine function, I want to see this result in a chart. Okay, so basically I plot this, I see a sine. Okay, it is between 0 and 1. That is what you have given over here. Okay, so this is one kind of special function you can use. And also second thing, you can also use exponential functions, log functions. So everything is available in Numpy. Say that you want to have a log function. Okay, I define an array. So this is the array I create. For this array, I want the log function. Use np.log. Okay, you'll get the log function. So similarly, I can have exponential function, log based and everything. Okay, so there are a lot of functions available, and you can try a lot of them. Okay, so just for example, I've shown few here. So this is about your Numpy. So we'll move on to the Pandas. Okay. Okay, Pandas, as I told you, like Pandas is basically a data manipulation and data analysis library. Okay, so here whatever we are going to see is like we are going to fetch a file data. It could be a Excel data, CSV data, text data, HTML file, HTML web page. Okay, and see how to extract data from these files and process them. Okay, so let us see how to extract data from files. Okay, so basically what I do is I have this pandas library. So as I told you, so when you're using Anaconda Navigator or Anaconda package, so all these comes as inbuilt NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, SciPy. Okay, you don't have to install them. So when you're using Python standalone, these don't come. Okay, you'll have to manually install it. Okay, so since Pandas is available with me, so what I do is I import them. Okay, I give an alias. Okay, I say pandas import pandas as pd. So when I want to consume a function for reading an Excel file, okay, I use the alias name pd dot function. So when you say pd dot read and say shift tab, it is going to give me that function. Okay, whatever functions that are available within this pandas library. Okay, so let me say pd.read Excel. And before that, let me show you, like not given the path over here, hard coded. Okay, so what I have done is I have used an configuration file, okay, .ini file. So let me show that as well. Okay, so ini file basically is what is your configuration file, and this file is basically used when you don't want to hard code your file paths and password into your code. Okay, say that you have your file stored at some location. Tomorrow you're changing your file location. So when that is happening, you don't want to go and change in your code the path and passwords, etc. Okay, so what you basically do is you give all your file paths, password, and whatever features you're extracting in your model or something. So you just put everything over here in your configuration file. So you read this file for file paths. So tomorrow if the path changes, the file path changes, so you don't have to go and change your code over there. Okay, so it directly reads from this ini file, even if the files are moved. Okay, so this is basically helps. This basically helps in that way. Okay, so what basically I have done is, so I have this Excel data in this path. So this is my path, this is the data. So what I do is, you see this. So this is the data. Okay, I have my Excel data over here. So this is the file that I'm reading here. Okay, I'm not hard coding. I'm reading this file from the ini file that I created. Okay, this is the file I'm reading. So if you see this file, I have these features over here. Okay, you have region, country, state, city, the product information, and what is the product that I sold, so how much I sold, what is the quantity that I sold, the forecast quantity, what is the revenue I made, and everything you can find from this file. So what I'm basically doing is I'm reading this file. Okay, so for reading this file, what I'm doing is I'm using this library called as pandas. Okay, so initially what I do, I configure my ini file.
Screen is
Okay.
not visible, sir.
Sorry.
Screen is not visible.
Not visible.
Yeah, and now it is visible.
Okay. Did you not see my Excel file?
No, sir, that was not visible.
Okay, let me show that. Okay, let me stop sharing this. Now can you see my folders?
Yeah, yes, now it is visible.
Okay, fine. Okay. So Zoom does not have an option of showing all the applications, right? One by one I need to show.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So this is my Excel file. Okay. So what I do is I'm reading this Excel file. I'm not hard coding this file, the file path in my source code. So what I do is I give the file path. INI file, did you see? Hello?
Yes, sir.
INI file which I showed you, like, are you able to see my INI
They
file?
want to repeat whatever you have said before. Before the screen was visible, they want repeat the everything.
Okay, so what I did, what I said was, like, let me begin from my INI file. Okay, then. So let me stop that.
So can you speak little bit louder also?
Yes, 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 yes. I'll do that. I'll do that. Okay. So can you see this file now? INI file.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. So what I told was, like, Pandas is what I'm using for data manipulation and data analysis. So say that I have a data in my Excel file or CSV file or text file, or I'm reading from a web page. Okay. So what I do is I use this Pandas library and I have a function called as read.excel or read.cxv. Okay. So what I do is when I read a file, I can give the path, hard code the path within my function. So say that tomorrow you're changing the file path. So if that is the case, what I have to do is I'll have to go change my file path manually in my source code. So instead of doing that in real case, in real world, what you do is you don't hard code anything. Okay. So what you do is you store all your file paths in a configuration file. Okay. That configuration file that I'm using is called as an INI file. Okay, so you see a 9 file over here. So what I basically do is, this is the file path I'm giving for my Excel file. Okay, so .xlx, this is my file path. So I store my Excel file over here in this location. I have my CSV file stored in this location. I have my text file stored in this location. So tomorrow if I'm changing my file location, so what I can do is I can change the file path directly over here. So my I don't have to go into my code, change my file path over there if I hard code it. So all these are burden, right? So when I do this in a configuration file, it is easier for me. So in real world, this is what happens. You actually give the file paths in a configuration file and you read them. So basically what I've done in my code as well is I've used my INF file. Okay, I have all the file paths within my INI file, and then I read the file from my INI file. Okay, then process it. So this is what actually I told you. So let me show the actual file now. Okay, I'll stop sharing this. Okay, now can you see my file, the Excel file?
Yes. No, sir.
Okay. Huh? Hello?
Once. Yes, sir. Now it is visible.
Okay, okay. So what I told you is I'm actually reading this Excel file. Okay. So instead of hard coding, I'm using an file and I'm reading this file. So this file basically, if you see, this is my sales data. Okay. So if you see, I have list of products over here. So this product, if you see, this is, based in North America, and you have all the states over here. So whatever products are sold in North America, Washington, Seattle, your different cities. Okay. So everything has been recorded product wise as well as SKU wise, and this gives my sales information. So how much sale I have made, how much item I have sold, So everything is there, everything is there in this file. So actually I am reading this data into my Python environment, okay, and then I'm going to process that, okay. So this is the file, Excel file that I'm using, okay. So let me stop sharing and let me go to the code again. Okay, now can you see my code?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I told you, like I'm passing my INI file. So the library I'm going to use for parsing this INI file is config parser. Okay. So this directly again is inbuilt within Anaconda. You don't have to install it. If you're using Python standalone, you have to install it. So what you do is actually for installing, you use a command called as pip. Okay, pip. This is a command that you use for installing packages. Whenever you want to install a package for us, any package, for example, I'm saying config parser. Okay, so you don't have it. Say that you don't have this config parser and you want to install it.
Sir,
So I just hello.
Yes, sir. This is Oblesh.
Yes, tell me.
Little bit loud, sir. Little bit.
Okay, fine. Now is it better?
Yeah, sir. Thank you. Many participants are asking. That's what.
Okay. I don't know what is the issue. Like in the morning also, this same thing happened. If you are speaking and people are not able to hear.
Continue, sir. Continue.
Okay, fine. Say that you don't have this package, okay, and you want to install this package. So Anaconda environment, I told you, like this comes inbuilt, and in Python environment, you don't have this library. So when you want to install this, you use this command called as pip. Okay, pip basically tells you Python package manager. Okay, so this you use this pip command to install your package. So you just write the syntax and say shift enter, and it is going to install you. So if it is installed, it is saying it is going to say you it is already installed. Okay, just let me go there. Okay. Okay, it is already installed, but it is still saying installing and successfully installed. Okay, anyways, so if you want to install it newly, you can use this command. Okay. So you use this command, library called as config parser to get you pass your INI file. I'm just getting all the file paths. Okay. I'm having my data in Excel file, CSV file, text file, and also I have my data in a web page. So instead of hard coding the file paths, I'm reading from an INI file. So what I do is I get all the file. So this here instead of so since I have the Excel file path, so what is my file path? Okay. So instead of saying this way, so what I'm literally doing is I'm not hard coding any. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so instead of saying this way, say for example C colon, I have my file over here. Okay, sales.excel or something like that. Okay, so instead of hard coding the value, what I'm doing is I'm actually reading the file path from a variable. I mean, from the INF file, I'm storing it in a variable. Okay, so that variable I'm going to pass over here. Okay, so now this basically gets your data from your Excel file, and you're going to see that. Okay, so this is the function you're using, pd.read underscore Excel, and this is the variable in which you have stored the file path which you got from your INI file. Okay, so again, if you want to view the data, for example, here I'm saying head in a sense it is going to show some part of your data, that is first 10 rows. Since I have said 10, it is going to show me first 10 rows of your data. Okay, that is from that you got from your Excel file. See, you see the data over here. Again, the data that you saw in your Excel file, the same data is available over here, and the number of rows I see here is 0 to 9. All these 0, 1, 2, 3 are the index. Okay, this is by default it takes the index. Okay, so you're getting the first 10 rows. So when you say, for example, you don't pass any number over here and you say head, okay, by default it is going to show you in okay. So when you don't pass any number over here, by default it is going to show you 5 rows. Here you see here 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to get 5 records. So same way, this is the upper part of your data. Similarly, when you say tail, so the lower, the last ending part of your data, you're going to get. Okay, so let me execute that as well. Okay. Okay, you see the index over here, 643 to 647. So in total, I had almost 648 rows. So when I said head, it showed me first 5 rows. When I say tail, it is showing me the ending records, ending 5 records. So this basically allows you to see your records, the ending records, the beginning records and things. Okay. Say for example, you're having some null values in your last columns and some of the records you're not fetching. So all this you can check that all the rows you're exporting. You can check with this command, say tail. So tail basically will give you the ending records. Say row number 648 is not exported, you'll get to know that. Okay, so you basically use all this command for checking your first part of the data, the ending part of the data and things. Okay, now this is basically like a select command on your say you have database. Okay, you have select a table. Okay, when you say select command, you're going to read the data. Similarly, here you're saying pd.read and the file you're giving. Okay, the file path, this is basically reading your data from an Excel file, like a select operation. Now say that you want to insert a column, a new column into this data that you got. Okay, now I have already exported this. Okay, so now you have the data, and what you're doing is you're giving this new column. Okay, this is what you're defining. New column as product cost in dollars. So this column is not from your Excel file. This you're creating, manually creating. And what is the column formula? Like I'm calculating this using these columns: sales revenue, product, and item count. I'm dividing this sales revenue by item count. I'm getting this column, product cost. This is a new column. This is a column that I'm inserting newly. Okay, so again I say head. Head is going to again print me this data with this new column. Okay, you see this column called as product cost. This is a new column inserted. So this is again a select, an SQL. This is like SQL insert command. When inserting a column, new column. Again, you can update a column. Say I have a column called as customer over here. You can see. Okay. So instead of Walmart, I'm saying Amazon. Okay. So I want to replace Walmart with Amazon. So this basically will replace. I don't know why it is not replacing. Okay, anyways, like if you want to update some column values, so this is what you use. Okay, dot replace is your replacement, updation operation command. Okay, so this is again an like an SQL update operation, delete operation. Say you want to drop some of the column. So I created this product cost column, new column, right? So this column I'm going to drop. I'm going to delete this column. So for that, I use this function dot drop. Okay, and axis is equal to 1. So this means I'm going to drop a column. When I say axis is equal to row 0, I'm going to drop a row. So if you want to drop a row, you say 0. When you say 1, you're going to drop a column. And this in place is equal to true. You need to define this in place is equal to true. Only then your data will be affected. It will be deleted in actual. Okay, if you say false, it will not be deleted. Let me show that. Okay, so if you see, I have dropped this column called as product cost, and I said in place is equal to false. So if you see the result, it is still there. Okay, if I say true, it will be gone. See the result now, it is not there, it has dropped. So whenever you want to, when you want your changes to take place, you will have to issue in place is equal to true. If it is false, your changes are not going to be affected. So this is again an operation that you perform on your database, SQL database or Oracle database. Okay. Similarly, again you can work with your CSV. So again you change the function over here. So instead of saying read underscore Excel, just read underscore CSV. Okay, and the variable that you have the file path of the CSV file is same thing. Okay, this variable that you have stored. Okay, read it and head again. I'm displaying the first part of the CSV file data. You can perform the same operations that you have performed on Excel. Okay, insert, update, delete. Similarly, you have a text file. Okay, so here when you say text file, again you're not going to use .txt. Okay, it is again the function for the text file is underscore CSV, but here you need to use the separators. Okay, slash tab. This is your tab. Text file separator. So this is, if you say, this is going to fetch data from your text file, and again you can perform all the operations, select operation, insert, anything. Okay, and you have a function for your web page as well. Okay, function to read your HTML pages. Okay, this is a function pd underscore dot read underscore HTML. So if you issue this, if you use this function read underscore HTML, you can read in a HTML web page. Okay, so I have used the HTML file path within this, and within this variable I'm getting the file. Actually, I have used the same data for all the files. Okay, CSV also, if you see the same data I have, and also text and web also. Okay, web page. So this basically is working with your files. Okay, whether it is Excel, CSV, or text or anything. It could be XML also. You can process XML files and many different types of files with your Pandas library. So when you basically work with these file types, you are going to use Pandas. Okay. So next we'll see how we can fetch data from databases. We saw from files. Now we're going to see databases. Okay. So as I told you, like we are going to use this command called as pip to install anything, any library or database, whatever it is. So basically PySQLi3. This is a database which is open source. I can download, install, and I can perform all the control operations on this, DML operations on this. Okay. So basically what I've done is I've downloaded this database using this script command. Okay, now I have this. Actually, this does not come with your Anaconda. Okay, nor with your Python. You'll have to download this manually, install it. Okay, so I have downloaded, installed it here. Okay, now that I have the database, what I do is I have created a new database. Okay, so the name I've given is test.db. Okay, so I have executed this and my database is created. Okay, now I'm going to create a new table. Okay, so this is working with your database tables. So earlier we saw files. The file was already there. We are fetching the file, doing some kind of operations. Okay, so here I'm working with databases. I have a database called as test.db. I'm creating a new table called as company. Sorry, this is insert, right? So let me see the select operation. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm basically creating a table called as company. Okay, so company table I'm creating, and the columns are like I'm creating an ID column, a name column, age column, address column. So this is basically your table creation. I have created a table called as company. So now say that I want to insert some values into this table. Initially when you create it, there was nothing in this table. So it's an empty table and I want to fill this table. So basically what I do is I use this insert command, okay, like your SQL insert or whatever, Oracle. So what I do is I use this command called insert into company. Company is my table name. Okay, I pass the column names, I pass the values. Okay, so now when I execute this give me a second. Let me okay, let me rerun this. Yeah, I created the database again. I'm going to create a table again. Okay, records are created. Now I want to see the data that I created. Okay, so you see here, I use this command insert. I inserted data into this company table. Now I'm reading the data. Okay, so there in the file we used read underscore Excel to view the Excel data. Like now I'm creating an database table called as company. I'm inserting values into this table, and I want to see the data. Okay, so the command that I issue here is select. Okay, select command on the table. So now I get the data that I inserted onto my company table. So I have this ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the data that I get. Okay, update operation, like whatever you want to update. Say here what I'm doing is here salary is equal to 25,000 is what I'm giving. So here earlier it is 20,000. Okay, so for the first record the salary is 20,000. So I want to update the salary to be 25,000. Okay, so what I do is I use this update command. My column is salary column. So I say 25,000 where ID is equal to 1. For the first record I'm doing this. Okay, I'm just updating it and let me see the result over here. Okay, it is updated. For ID number 1, salary is updated. So this is your update operation. Delete operation, again say that I want to delete ID is equal to 2. I don't want this. Okay, I don't want the information for Alan. Okay, I just want to delete this. So I use this command delete from company. Company is my table name and ID is equal to 2. So this is one I want to delete. Okay, again, if I want to view the data, I just execute this. So now I see I don't have to. Okay, it's been deleted. Okay, so this is your working on database tables. Okay, we have seen files. Now we have seen databases. So in your real-time model building applications, so you don't get data just from files. Okay, you will have data stored in your databases, Hadoop file systems, so number of things. Okay, you will have to fetch data from different data sources, integrate them, then perform it. I mean, build your training data, train them or and do things. Okay, so you will be required to do all this. Okay, get data from files, databases, combine them. So we are just seeing file working with files and databases. So let me go to the next one. Okay, let us see what is series and data frames. Okay, so we have something called as data frames and series. So what is series basically? So when you're getting a data from a file, okay, you're storing it in some variable. Okay, say that you have this, for example. Okay, this is what files, right? Okay, so when you have an Excel file, you get the data and store it in a variable. So the variable that I use is var underscore sales underscore revenue Excel. So this data, if you see, it is in a table format, right? So this is nothing but called as a data frame. Okay, so this is called as Pandas data frame. It is not called as a table. It is similar to a table, looks like a table. This is called as data frames. So similarly, you have series also. So this is also a data container. This is a container for holding our data. So, but series holds just single dimension data. So what I'm doing is I'm manually creating a series. So what I do is I use this function called as dot series, and this is the array that I'm passing in. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you see the result, this is one single dimensional data, 1D data. Okay, this just has got one dimension. So series basically will have your single dimension. Now when you want to have a data frame, so say that you are creating another series called as with values 11, 22, 33, 44, and 55. Now this is another series with one dimension. Now when you want to create a data frame, what to do is you combine these two. Okay, when you combine these two and use this function called as pd.dataframe, so this basically will create a data frame for you which looks like a table data that we saw earlier when we are working with files. Okay, so see here I have used this series that I created earlier, only series. This is single dimension series, this is a single dimension series. I'm combining these two. Okay, when I combine these two, it becomes a data frame for me. Now I can do any operation that we did with the files. Okay, Excel files, CSV files, etc. Okay, so this is basically difference between your series and data frame. Series is nothing but your 1D dimensional data, and data frame is nothing but your when you're combining different series into one single table or something, it is going to be called as a data frame. Okay, so this is how you create a data from your series, or you can create a data frame from directly reading from your file or database or whatever it is. If you're manually creating from a series, this is how you create. You get the, I mean, either create a series or get a series from a list or something, any data structure. Okay, combine them and get a data frame. or from file, you read data from files and create it. Okay, so this is how a data frame is created from a series. Now let's create a random data frame of size 10 cross 10. So what you do is, so for creating a data frame nothing but a tabular table like data structure. Okay, so this is the function you pass pd.dataframe, and you say data is equal to np.random. You're generating random numbers. Okay, so what you're saying is numbers are between 1 and 10. This is the starting number, this is the ending number. So it is between 1 and 10 of size 10 comma 10, 10 rows and 10 columns. Okay, and here labeling the column as A, B, C, D, E. Okay, and indexing also, like you're saying is A, B, C, D as the index. So in case you're not defining this index, it will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is a random data frame generation of 10 numbers of size 10 comma 10, 10 rows and 10 columns. Okay, I execute this. It is saying not defined. Let me define. Okay, now you see a random data frame created of size 10 comma 10. Okay, so this is basically a data frame and series. Okay, let us see what subset of data is. Okay, okay, in this we are going to see how we are going to fetch rows, columns, and how we are going to filter data, and how we are going to access database, how to rename columns, and how we are going to filter rows based on condition and things. Okay, so initially, like what I've done is I have a CSV file, so which is got from this link. Okay, so I'm just going to get this data. Let me show you the data. Give me a second, I'm sharing my own screen. Okay, so I have this data which I get from a web page. Okay, so this is where it is stored, and I'm going to get this data. Okay, let me stop sharing. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the data from this link. Okay, so this is the data that I have. Okay, I'm just printing first few rows of the data. So first 5 columns in fact. Okay, now what I do is I want to access specific rows and columns. Okay, see, initially what I do is I just want to see what are the columns with categorical data. Okay, I don't want, not interested in numerical columns. Okay, so if you see this data set that I get from the link, I have these many columns. Okay, a number of columns, and my last 2 columns, sales and salary. So those are the categorical columns. I'm interested in only those columns. So I'm just selecting those columns. So what I do is I'm just interested in categorical columns. So what I do, so initially what I do is I get the data from within this variable var underscore data. Okay, and I say select underscore d types. So inside brackets I say object. So when I define this way, it is going to give me only the categorical columns. Okay, or there is another way of doing this. Okay, using indexes. So let me show that as well. Okay, let me insert a new row, new cell. Okay, this is the variable where I have the data. Okay. Okay, so what I do is I print the first two rows. Okay, now say that I don't want to access this way. Okay, I don't want to use select details. I want to use indexes. What I do, I say something called as ilog. Okay, and just say the index numbers. Okay, so what is the index number for this column? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, when I say 8, this is, sorry, you have to say the row first. Or you just want two rows, right? So you just say 0 to 3. Okay, and in fact 2. Okay, so I can use ilog, or I can say this way. Okay, or I can say select underscore d types. So this basically is going to give me the same result. I'm interested in sales and salary column. Here, when you say select underscore d types and you say object, it is going to give me sales and salary, or you say ilog. So basically, you're giving the indexes. So I just want two rows. Okay, two basically indicates two rows. You can say this way, or you can say colon 2 as well. Okay, so this basically is going to give you two rows and 8 columns, from 8 until total columns I have. I have totally 9 columns. So this, if you say 8 column, it is going to give you 8 to 9. Okay, 2 columns. That is last 2 columns, sales and salary. So this basically is same as select details. Okay, so this is how I select my categorical columns. So row selection. Now I want to rename some of the column. Okay, I have something called as a column called as sales. So sales, if I want to rename it to department, what I do, I have the data frame within this variable. I use this function called as rename. Okay, and I pass the column name here, the old column name, which is sales, and new column name, okay, which is department. And I'll have to say in place is equal to true for my changes to take place. Okay, if I don't say in place is equal to true, again it is going to show you show the column name as sales only. Okay, it is not going to take your changes. Okay, so let me do that. Now if you see, the sales column will be renamed. Okay, renamed to department. You see here, department. Say this to be false. Okay, give me a second to confirm the name. Okay, you see the column is sales only. Now let me say 2 again. Okay, now this will be replaced. So this is one way of renaming your column, switching the column, renaming it. Okay. Okay, now what I do, I have this data frame and I want, selected columns. Okay, so what I do is I use this variable where I have the data stored and just I pass the column names. Okay, since I say head, it is going to show me only first few rows. Okay, so when you give the column names, it has to be in double bracket, double square brackets. Okay, single brackets will throw you an error. So let's see that. Okay, it is saying key error. Okay, so if you get an error of this type, so it means that you have to pass your data within double square brackets. Okay, so now you have these 3 columns. Okay, so whatever column names you want to get, you can pass that those columns. Okay, now I'm interested in these 3 columns. I'll pass this. Okay, and let's move to your rows now. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm accessing first 3 rows of first column. Okay, so this is the column name called satisfaction level. So I want first 3 rows of this column. Okay, so since I have now my var underscore data is comprised of these 3 columns. Okay, so what I do is I want the satisfaction level column. So from this column, I want the first 3 rows 0, 1, 2, and the index of the this column is 1. Okay, you don't have to define that. So you have to say 0. Okay. You have to say I log. Yes, okay. 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 So you want to get the first rows of the first 3 rows of the first column. So by default, it takes the first column even if you don't define the column. Okay. So colon 3 basically will return you index 0, 1, 2. Okay, you get 0.38, 0.80, 0.11. Okay. So similar way, you want to access, this is another method. Okay. So here you say the variable name dot your column name. So in the second case, what you do, you have your variable name. So inside square brackets, here you have to use single square brackets since you have only one column. So if it is more than one column, you're going to use square brackets. Okay. So you say satisfaction level, which is your column name, and this is the position of your data. Okay. So you say colon 3. Again, you are going to get the same data. So either way, you can access the first 3 rows of your first column. This is accessing first 2 columns. So I have changed the data frame, so you'll have this. Okay. Now you see 1, 2 rows 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that means within this range you're going to get the data. Okay, this is 1 to 4. That is, give me a second, let me execute this. Okay, this is going to give you 3 rows of data. Since you say it is 1 to 4, okay, so you will not get the fourth column. You will get 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. Now you're filtering based on some conditions. Okay. Say that you have a salary column and you want to have salary which is tagged as low. Okay, so all the salary of the employees or something which has low tagging. Okay, so this basically will give you the result for your data where the salary is low. Okay, since I said head over here, it is going to print me only first few rows. Okay, so I'm going to say head. So head basically tells me the first 5 rows. Okay, so index 1 has got salary as high, so that is why it is not showing. Okay, so 0, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is having salary as low. So this is showing me all the records with where salary is low. Okay, so this is how you access subsets of data, which is rows, column, and then you can do whatever operation you want. You can filter it, you can concatenate or merge, whatever you do. Like here, basically I've shown the filtering operation. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so let's see the other things. Statistical operations. Okay, so in Python, basically you have something called as window functions. So there are a few functions like percentage differences. You define an array, okay, or a series where you have list of elements. You want to calculate the percentage between each elements. Okay, so you have function for that. Okay, then if you want to find covariance between two elements, so all these are statistical functions. You can use them. Okay, so all these are based on series. If you create a series, you apply all these functions. So if you want to see the percentage difference between these elements, so say for example, what between 1 and 2, what is the percentage difference? That is 100%. So 1 becomes 2 here, so it is 100%. Okay, 2 to 3, again 3 to 4, what is the difference? Okay, so you can see the difference. And you can have this function called as covariance. Okay, this is again a statistical function. Okay, so you use this function called as .cov and find the covariance between the elements. Okay, similarly you have correlation and things. Okay, so you just I'm going to use this function. So all this you can try out. Okay, you have something called as data ranking. Okay, say you have a series and you have generated a random number and you want to rank each of the elements, you can rank them. Okay, so here if you say you have 5 numbers generated, random numbers, and you have indexed them as A, B, C, D, E. Okay, for each of them you want to rank them. Okay, so you can rank them. So you use that this function called as dot rank. Similarly, you have this rolling function. Okay, you create this data frame and say window is equal to 1. Now if you say window is equal to 1, it is going to show you all the data within this window. Okay, now you say window is equal to 2, it is going to exclude this first row. Similarly, if you want to say 5 or something, it is going to exclude first 4 rows. Okay, you have also expanding functions. Okay, you use this function expanding and again give the statistical functionality. Okay, so if you want to see the mean of this, mean of this. Okay, similarly you have other functions also. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, we'll see how to handle missing data. Okay. Okay, so I have this data set. This is basically a movie data set. So in this, if you see, so you have few movies over here, and people who have watched this movie have given some kind of rating to this movie. Okay, so if you see, David has given a rating to this movie, Godfellas. Okay, ranging Bolos, and some of the for some of the movies which they are not seen. Okay, they are not given any ranking. So those columns are blank. Okay, so data is missing within this data set. So how, I mean, when you take this data to your, model, machine learning model or deep learning model, so it will not take the missing data. So you'll have to improve them. Okay, you'll have to remove them, or you have to replace them, missing data, with some other value. So how to handle missing data over here? So we are going to see that. Okay, so I have this data where I have lots of data missing. Okay, now I take the uh, data for specific row. Okay, so I have the whole data set over here. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 rows of data. Okay, for all this. Now I want to access row number 2. Okay, that is 3 0 1 2 3. Okay, for this movie. Okay, this is what I have. Okay, so I have a null value over here. So if I pass this value to my model, it is going to throw me an error. Okay, so I cannot use this data. Okay, I'll have to impute them. So what I do? Okay, so what I can do is I can drop them or delete them or something. Okay, so here basically I'm just saying what all the rows are blank. Okay, here I have row number 4. Okay, 0 1 2 3. Okay, this one. Okay, so I'm just giving the element number, the index number. It is 3. I'm getting this. So I see one of the user has given the rating for this movie is not given any rating. Okay, similarly I see this. Okay, from index 3 to 5. Okay, 3 rows of data. So for this also, like, few users have not given me rating. Okay, now I need to remove all this, or either replace or remove all this data which is not going to serve my model. Okay, so here what I do, I get this data set and I'm saying data that are not null. Okay, give me a second. Okay, build a feed. Okay, for this person I'm saying, okay, is there any data that is not null? Okay, so you can see build a feed over here. Okay, so for build a feed, like, I want all the rows that are not null. So I'm just getting this. Okay, I can fetch data this way. Okay, so how do I remove the missing data? Okay, so if you see the whole data set I got, it has got total 8 columns. Okay, for David Smith, it has got 5 columns as not null. So the remaining 3 columns are null. Okay, and if I see for every user has null columns. Okay, they are not given any rating for. There are few movies for which they are not watched and not given ratings. Okay, so there are so many missing data over here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to drop the columns for which an user has not given rating. Okay, so what I do, For Chris Duncan, okay, I'm checking. Okay, so what is that? He has not given rating. So when I see Chris Duncan, okay, so basically I've dropped him. Okay, that is not going to serve my purpose. So what I'm doing is I do not want his ratings. So what I'm doing is, so since it is not useful, I'm dropping this user. Okay, so command and function that I'm using to drop it as dot drop. So similarly, like either you can replace the missing values with some values, or you can drop them. So here basically I've dropped it. So whatever columns you have dropped, accepting that you can take it to your model. So you will have to take your data set with all the rows and columns full. Okay, so only then your model can take the data and it can process. So basically I'm here dropping all the columns which have missing data. Okay, now you see I have all this I have this data set where I've dropped all the columns with null values. Now remaining two rows, these are the two rows with where I have complete data. Okay, so this I can take to the model. Now again I have a data frame created manually. Okay, I have a data frame where my first column A has this element, B has these elements, C has these elements. Now I want to see what are the elements that are duplicating. So here if you see in A, like this is 1, in B this is 1, and this is 1. This is what is duplicating. Okay, index 5 ABC 111. So this is duplicate. Again, if there are duplicates, it is going to cause me problems in my model. Okay, so whatever duplicates, again I want to remove duplicates. So what I do is I use this function called as drop duplicates. In place is equal to true for effect to take place, for my changes to take place, and I'm going to remove this. Okay, let me execute this again. Okay, so finally I see my data frame with the duplicates dropped. Now I have my data frame with indexes 0 to 4. Okay, 5 is dropped. Now I can use this data to train my model. Okay, so this is basically how you deal with missing data. Okay, and handling duplicates. You need to either remove the data, missing data, or you need to replace them. Okay, finally we'll see what are functions using your pandas. Okay, we are going to see map function, apply function, and group function. So this is the data that I have. Okay, and this basically is a Titanic data set. Okay, so you have the passenger information. So the passengers who survived and who died. Okay, so I have the information of the passengers. So okay, I have their age, their sex, the ticket fare, and what was the class in which they traveled, everything. Okay, so now I'm going to see, okay, what are the passengers whose data is null. Some of the column values will be blank. Okay, I'm just going to check the columns that are blank for the passengers. Okay, now if I use this function called as dot null, I have so many passengers where some of the columns are blank. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a map function. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this map function basically will actually replace a value in a series with another value. Okay, suppose say age. Okay, so in age column, if you see, for example, this is the data set. You have age. Okay, age. So age you have 22, 30, 38, and etc. Okay, so for kids, what I want to do, so wherever age is less than 80, okay, I want to replace the values as kid. Okay, I want to introduce a categorical value. Okay, So I just want to say, so wherever the age is lesser than 18 for passengers, I want to tag them as kid, and rest of them I want to say adult. So now I'll have two classes, either kid or adult. Okay. So basically what I'm doing is I'm replacing all the numerical values with categorical values with two classes. Okay. For that what I'm doing is I'm using a map function for handling this. Okay. So this is what your map function basically does. So it basically substitutes a value in your series with another value. Okay. So you can use map function for this. And apply function. Okay. So what apply function is going to do? Okay, apply function will apply a particular function on your axis, either on your rows or your columns. Okay, say this is the function that I'm going to apply. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find out the mean age of the passengers that is across columns. Okay, my axis is 1 now. So what I'm doing is I'm using this function called as apply, and what I'm doing is, so I'm saying lambda age is equal to kid if age is greater than 18, else adult. Okay, if age is greater than 18, I'm saying it's adult, and I want the first 10 rows. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to get the 10 rows of data. Okay, I want to replace them as either kid or adult and get the first rows. So this is the function basically I'm doing. Okay, so if I want to get the I want to perform this function, I'm going to use apply. Okay, group by, so group by basically groups based on particular thing. Okay, so here what you're doing is group by, you're grouping the passengers based on sex. Okay, and you're getting the mean age. Okay, so for your you're grouping the passengers by their sex. Okay, female, and what was the mean age? Okay, so the mean age of the passengers, female passengers, was 27.91 years, and male was 30 years. So this is what you use to group. I mean, this is the function you are using to group the passengers. Okay, now I want to get the mean, min, and maximum functions. I mean, values of the passengers age. Okay, so if I see the female passengers, so this was the minimum age, and max, and minimum was 0.75, 63 was the maximum. Okay, so this is the functions. Okay, map function, apply function, and things. I think we are done with the pandas. So we will move to the next one. Okay, matplotlib. Yes. Okay. So matplotlib, as I told you earlier, this is a library that is basically used to plot your data in a graphical format. Okay. So basically, if you want to see your data in a graphical representation in visualizing manner, you can use this library. So again, this comes inbuilt with your Anaconda. You don't have to install them. Python, you have to install them. Okay. The command you can use pip install, or if you are using Anaconda, you can say conda install. So let us see this line plot. Okay. So now for the line plot, I have the data again in an INF file. So what I do is I have this Excel data, right? Excel, I have the data in Excel. So I just get the data from Excel into my variable, okay, which is written in an INF file. Okay. So basically, let me show you the file then.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for the data.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, can you see my Excel file?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so for plotting, I'm just using this file. Okay, so this is an Excel file. Again, I've shown the file before, but I want to show the columns that I'm using for plotting. Okay, so this file I'm going to use. So here, if you see region-wise sales I have. Okay, so this is an hierarchically arranged data. So I have country-wise, region-wise sales data as well as product and SKU-wise data. So basically for my plotting, what I'm doing, I'm going to plot my forecasted SKU quantity. So this is the forecast which my model has done. Okay, so there is something called a time series forecasting. So actually we have done time series forecasting and getting this forecasted product quantity. Okay, also like SKU also we have used. So both product as well as SKU wise we have forecasted. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this column forecasted product quantity. I'm going to plot it against city. Okay, so city Seattle and another city. Okay, for this I'm going to visualize. So what is my forecasted product quantity for the next year? Sorry, next year for 6 months. Okay, 2021. What was the forecasted product quantity? Okay, I'm going to take this data from an INA file. So where I have the path of this file, I'm going to plot that. Okay, so how I plotted that? Let me show that. Okay, so if you see here, I'm taking the, sorry, instead of city, it is state. Okay, for Washington and Seattle. Okay, so these are the two states for which I want to visualize my forecasted product quantity. Okay, so this forecasted product quantity is the model outcome of a time series model. Okay. And this I want to see for Washington, Seattle, and the and California and Sacramento also. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually plotting this in a line chart. Okay, so this is the product quantity you can visualize in a line chart. Basically, you get the data from your model outcome file and you're visualizing it in a graphical format. Okay, so this is one way of plotting. So you can also use a bar chart or a pie chart for plotting. So again, if you want to plot the same data in bar chart, you can plot them. Okay, so bar chart basically will be used for comparison. Okay, so here again, if you see the same data I've used, okay, I've plotted. So what I have done is here I have used sales revenue instead of using forecasted product quantity. I'm using sales revenue. Okay, how much is going to be my sales revenue for Seattle and Sacramento in the next year? Okay, so those comparisons I'm making. So these kind of charts will be useful in making comparisons. Okay, I see Seattle is going to have a higher sales revenue than Sacramento. So this gives me some kind of input. Okay, so when my requirement is of something like this, okay, I can plot data in this format and see which all cities or states are faring better than the others. Okay, so basically for this you are using matplot. Okay, so matplotlib. So matplotlib is basically a plotting library. So you have some other libraries also like Bouquet, or there are few libraries I think you can use. So this basically is a famous library that we're using. Okay. So this is one kind of plot, bar plot, and we have a pie chart. Okay, pie plot. So this basically is plotting your data into slices. Say percentage. Here again, if you see, I've taken sales revenue. Okay, percentage wise, if you want to see which city is faring better, which state is faring better. So Seattle, if you say it is 94%, it is of the total revenue, sales revenue. Seattle has got 94% of your sales revenue, and Sacramento has got so many. Okay, so this basically gives you an division of your KPI. It could be sales or whatever it is, revenue, expense, whatever it is. So out of 100, 94% goes to Seattle, 6% goes to Sacramento. So you can make comparisons again on here. Okay, which is fair and better. So matplot allows you to plot a pie chart. Similarly, you have a scatter chart. So in the morning we spoke about clustering. So when you want to group your customers or products into groups and then plot them, so you can use these charts. Okay, so you'll have actually data points over here, and you can actually group them. Okay, so that you will see different clusters. So customers belonging to one cluster, the customers belonging to another clusters. So you can actually differentiate them. So this is a scatter plot, and matplotlib again allows you to plot these kind of scatter plots. So again, we have something called as multiple figures plotting. Okay, so if you look at this, matplotlib again allows you to plot multiple figures in one particular plot. Say for example, you have one chart. Okay, within that chart, again you want to plot another plot. Okay, so here if you see, I have created a data set. Okay, so for example, I have something called as np.key range. I'm generating a random value. Okay, and this is my function exponential t dot cost to the power of something. Okay, and this is my data range. I have between 0 and 1.1 these many values. Okay, and there is t2. This is the value. Okay, now there are two different data sets. I want to plot t1 and t2. Okay, so for plot 1 I'm using t1, for plot t2 for a second plot I'm using t2. So this is the function for t2. So one particular chart I'm plotting multiple figures. So when that is the case, you can use matplotlib. Okay, so this is with plotting multiple figures in one particular graph. Okay, yes. Next we'll see how to use text. Okay. Okay, now say that you want to plot a histogram. Okay, and you want to include some decorative text inside this plot. Okay, you can do that. So basically here I have not got data from a file or something. I have created a data just for simplicity. Okay, so I'm plotting a histogram. So I want to place some text over here. Okay, say that you want to give a text inside this histogram. Say nu is equal to 100, sigma is equal to 15 or something. Okay, you can place the text within this. Okay, so what I've done is use this function called as plt.text, and I have said that nu is equal to 100 and sigma is equal to 15. So this is like placing your text. You can give your labels as well, like X label, Y label. Okay, so this is working with your text. So this completes the matplot. So again, like I not explained in detail, like only basic things I've explained. So everything like gone basic. So finally we will see SkyPy. Okay. So basically I told you SkyPy is used for scientific computing. Okay, scientific computing in the sense like if you want to work with mathematical functions like differential calculus or integral calculus, like you want to find a cubic root or something, exponential function, log function. So you can use this library, okay, which is SkyPy. SkyPy stands for scientific Python. Okay, Say suppose you want to find a cubic function, okay, cubic function for this number, these numbers, okay. You have this number 27 and 64. So you want to find the cubic number of this. So 27 is what, 3, and 64 is 4. So SkyPy has a special function within this, okay, CBRT, cube root. Okay, so this is going to give you the cube root. Same way, if you want to find the exponential of some number, you can use it. Okay, this has got exponential exp10. Okay, this will give you the exponential value of your elements within the R. Okay, so you can use this for numerical functions, algebraic functions. Okay, say that you have an array, okay, of 2 cross 2. You want to find the determinant of these two arrays. Okay, say array is similar to matrices. Okay, you want to find the determinant of these two arrays. You can find them. Again, you want to inverse the matrix. Okay, reverse the matrix. You can do that. It has got functions. Okay, you want to find eigenvalues, eigenvectors. You can do it. Fourier transform, yes, you can do them. Okay, and plot them. So for plotting, you're using matplotlib. Okay, and to perform the actual function, you're using SkyPy. Okay, so this basically deals with all your scientific calculations. Okay, scientific functions. So we have something called image processing as well as this. Okay. So this SkyPy is also capable of handling your images. Okay. Say that you have this image, okay, a panda image. This is an inbuilt image that comes within the SkyPy library. Okay, so I'm just exporting it. So what I say is from SkyPy import MICC. Okay, within this you find this library. Okay, I can, if you want to plot, you can use this library called matplotlib. And this is Numpy. Numpy, as I told you, it is for array processing. This image, if you see, this is multi-dimensional data. It has got multi-dimensional data. So if you want to process this image, you will need this NumPy. Okay, so which will process your image. So what I basically do is, I will get the image that is available within this library. Okay, SkyPy library, and I'm just plotting this. Okay, I'm just seeing this image. So this is the image. Okay, and if you want to see the shape of the image and what is the data type of the image, let me show that as well. Okay, so this is the variable within which I get the data. Okay, so if I get the data, so how the computer or the SkyPy library looks at the image. Okay, so I print the data. Okay, so this variable I'm printing, see that it is getting the image into an array. Okay, this is nothing but multi-dimensional data. You have number of rows, number of columns, pixels, the rows and the columns, the pixels as arrays. Okay, so we want to see the type of the data. Okay, this image. Okay, what I will do. Okay, so when you say type of the data, it is an ND array. That is multi-dimensional array and n-dimensional array. Okay, so image basically is your n-dimensional array. Okay, so the computer actually sees as an multi-dimensional array. So whatever image you pass. Okay, say that you got the image and you want to rotate the image or something. Okay, so whatever you want to do with the image, you can do using this library. Okay, if you want to flip the image, you can do that. If you want to rotate, you want to crop, whatever you want to do, you can use the functions within SkyPy to do them. Okay, so this basically offers all the functions that you want. And finally, we'll see how signals are being processed using Skype. So you might be working with audio signals, video signals, okay? So how do you process them using SkyPy? SkyPy is a library which handles these signals, okay? Audio signals, video signals. So if you see this, I have this signal, okay? So this signal is being converted into this shape, okay? So you have functions for them. Okay, similarly, this is first one is convolution. You want to move through the signals, okay? Convolute through the images, okay? This is two-dimensional image or signal, okay? So if you want to convolute through them, you can use this function. You have also have correlation function, okay, which you can use to correlate your signal, okay? So SkyPy has got everything. So this basically concludes everything. Okay, we have covered all the libraries, Numpy, Pandas, Tuple, and SkyPy. Hello? Hello?
Sir. Yes.
Published, like, I covered everything, like, showed the demo for all the
It's over, sir.
libraries.
Shall we close, sir?
Yes, yes, I've completed everything. Like, any doubts, people can ask me.
Yes, sir. Wait, sir. Wait a minute. Right. Sir, very nice session, sir. On
Okay, like
Python libraries.
this was like very basic, like I've not covered
Yeah,
everything,
Numpy,
only few
Pandas,
dots.
and scikit.
Mm.
Thank you very much. Any participants have any doubts?
Sir, can you demonstrate how to the text analysis? One example.
Like it will take some time to demonstrate. Okay, like I need to prepare the data, then I like we can discuss this on some other day. Like so
Okay,
once.
another clarification is, do you think there may be some common functionalities in NumPy and then SciPy, for example, that matrix determination that we can do using NumPy also, right?
Yes, yes, we can do, but there are certain functions which we cannot do using NumPy, right? So like
Okay.
see like whatever the calculus functions, okay, that you cannot do using NumPy. For that you
So,
have to go for SkyPy. So those
so
common
you mean
things.
to, sir, you mean to say that then once we use one of the command, if you are not finding, then we have to go for alternative one, right?
Yes, yes, something which you cannot do with something, you'll have to
Okay.
go for the alternate, right?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Will
Sir,
anyone?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, 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 please.
How can you handle outliers and all?
Yes, outliers will come in unsupervised learning, right? You have models for them, right? Hierarchical clustering, King's clustering will will take care of your outliers and anomaly detection. So that we can cover in separate modeling when we are
Okay.
performing this model.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can you give one example how you evaluate the model by using any data set using convolution neural network?
Okay,
Like,
that again we have a session for DL, right? So
okay.
today is just Python basics. Tomorrow
Yes,
we have ML, and day after tomorrow we have DL.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
So there I will demonstrate.
Just I want one how we evaluate the model. Full
Yes,
data
yes,
set.
yes, yes. I will do that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
so in YouTube, few participants have asked the question, sir.
Yes.
They asked to show the database, sir.
Okay. Database. Okay. So like in the morning, somebody asked how to see the see all the libraries, right? So let me show that as well. So like how people set up the environment. So basically, what I am using is I'm using Anaconda. Yeah, Anaconda is a package manager where you have all the libraries inbuilt. Okay, for MLDL and things. Okay, so you have Python standalone which you can install. So if you're using Python, you'll have to install all the libraries manually. So how people are using this? For ML and TL application building. So have they Have they installed the environment, the Anaconda environment?
Sorry to disturb you, sir. Your screen is static, working with audio signal.
You're not able to hear me?
I'm able to hear, but your screen is static with presentation working with audio video signal.
Okay. I'll just stop and I'll reshare it.
Thank you.
Okay. So what I was asking is like, what is the environment that you're using? Either you could use Anaconda or you could use standalone Python. Okay. So if you are using standalone Python, there will not be any libraries. Okay. So if you are using Anaconda, there will be a lot of inbuilt libraries. Okay. So somebody in the morning asked Jyoti, right? So how do you see all the libraries? Right. So that is what I'm asking. Okay, so if you have installed Anaconda, so Anaconda will have all the libraries installed inbuilt. Okay, so how do you go there? You have this Anaconda installed. You go to this Anaconda folder. There is a folder called as lib. Okay, there you have something called as site packages. So if you see this, you have all the libraries installed here. If you see Numpy, so if you want Numpy, there is Numpy over here. So if you want to see some other package, say TensorFlow or something. Okay, TensorFlow will not come as inbuilt. This will have to install. Okay, so it will have all the libraries with it. Okay, so in Python, if you're using standalone Python, okay, so you have this folder lib, and inside this site packages, and there will not be much libraries. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, sir, this is for the standalone Python like Spider IDE you are saying.
Yes.
So those are the packages already installed. That only it is listed over here in the lib folder, right?
Yes.
So all the packages where we can get it. Without installation also. Let's say that package. Just I wanted to know what are the packages and its functionality in Python latest version. Let's say I'm using 3.7. Then let's say right now 4.4.2 also available. So there are some other functionality. I have not installed them in my standalone Python, but I want to see what are the functionality of those packages. Then in that case, how can I find out those packages, extra packages?
No, it is based on your requirement, right? So if you're working with images, okay, if you say that you're working with images and we are working with Python, you don't have any library that works with images. So you'll have to manually install them, right? So for that, just look around what libraries you use for image processing. So say OpenCV. Okay, OpenCV is a very famous library that you use for image processing. OpenCV will not come inbuilt. Okay, that you'll have to install. So like that, based on your requirement, you'll have to pick and install them.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, you send these recording sessions and files, sir, everything, data sets?
Okay, so this actually is set up in my laptop. Okay, so if I have to send you, I cannot send you the link. Okay.
No, yesterday, sir, send the links. We practiced that sessions.
What kind of link?
Just whatever you told that everything, these files, exercises, everything.
Okay, this I have to post it in. I need to host it in GitHub or something. Okay, from where you can download the files. The code, the source code as well. Okay.
That GitHub link also you put it, sir. That way we will take.
No, like I not hosted it, so I'll have to speak with Jyoti and get his confirmation. Okay, like he's going to take some other session also, right? ML and DA. So once we finish everything, so like later on we can host everything in GitHub.
Yes, sir. I will ask Jyoti, sir.
Okay.
And I will take all slides and the code and all the links.
Like initially, today in these 2 days, like we have finished only 10 or 20%. Okay. Tomorrow, like he's going to cover time series. Time series, like we have got two models. One, like we have used machine learning, and also like we used DL. Okay, and day after tomorrow we are going to cover ML. ML is basically like we have a facial recognition, handwritten digits, and DL we have a few more use cases. So everything together we'll put it. Okay, so one by one, like we cannot do it. So together we'll put it.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So you say, I heard that from the one resource persons, they are saying Anaconda Python is different from normal Python, or so it is something we learn differently.
Now see, standalone Python. Anaconda Python is the latest. Okay, if you go and see your Anaconda site. So I don't know what is the version they're using. Like Anaconda is using right now. So whatever I have is around. It is Python 3.7. So if you're installing it standalone.
I'm not mean that. Okay, it is say that so Anaconda is the provider, but they provide the Python, right? The same Python, right?
Yes, it is same. Everything is same.
Same, right? But he is the provider, right? Anaconda is the provider, right? Source provider, right?
Say Anaconda is nothing but your package. Okay, it comes with a lot of libraries. Your Python will not come with libraries. Only few libraries, basic libraries. So if you want to use advanced libraries, you got to install it manually.
Okay. Okay.
It is not different. Different things what kind. So Anaconda prompt will provide you some kind of tools like Spider also will come within this Anaconda. You can use Jupyter Notebook or Anaconda Spider. So there are a lot of options available within Anaconda.
Okay. So one more last question is, are there any command where we can list all the libraries in the Jupyter Notebook, or we have to come and check here itself only?
There should be a command which we actually forgot. I think there is a command. Okay, I'll just check and I'll let you know.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, still
Hello?
any?
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I have write a OS2 thrust holding algorithm, but here's come some problem, some errors came. That I have already sent in chat box. Please see the error and solve it.
Okay, I'll have a look at your model and everything. Okay, only then I can see. Like you can contact me later on this. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, what is that model you're using? I didn't get you. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, somebody asked some doubt, right? I actually didn't get the question.
Participants, still anyone having any clarifications or any doubts? Right. If there is no doubts, please, all of you, all the participants are requested fill the feedback. Okay. Thank you, sir. Durga Prasad, sir. Thank you very much for more informative session on Python libraries. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. Okay. Please, if it is possible, share the link, sir. I will discuss with you, sir. Regarding
okay. Tomorrow again I'll be demonstrating ML machine learning. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Participants are requesting fill the feedback and then leave the group. Fill the feedback and leave the session.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, tomorrow once again request please give that material, sir, regarding today class.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
I will
sir.
forward this message to Jyoti, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir?
Yes,
Hello?
yeah,
yes.
Afternoon, you should allow 2-3 questions, otherwise it is sleepy.
Sorry?
Afternoon, you should allow 2-3 questions to ask, otherwise it is like a sleepy mode, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is demonstration, right? Should be active. Everybody will sleep, something like that. It was even though research is very good, but afternoon you can understand very well your teacher.
Yeah, sir. At that time, you can ask the question, raise them hands, and you can ask the question, sir. Like if we unmute all them, it will be creating disturbance. That's the problem. Hello.
Yes, is there?
Yeah, yes, okay.
Yeah. This one.
So all the participants are requested, please.
अरे हो गया ना दूसरा उसकी
Madam.
Sir, any sir is not there, I guess. Durga Prasad sir.
Yes.
Can I stop the recording?
Sorry?
Shall I stop the recording, sir?
Yeah, please stop the recording, ma'am. No problem.